Moonfall Season 1 Episode 3 In the shadows, as the moon waxes in the night sky, casting its silver glow over the city, we find ourselves once again immersed in the mystique of Moonfall. In the shadows, the title of today's episode, hints at the veiled mysteries that will unravel in the moonlit hours. Brace yourselves for a journey into the heart of the unknown, where werewolf lore converges with the complexities of modern-day New York. Previously on Episode 2 Unleashed, in the previous episodes, we ventured into the extraordinary life of Ninetails-WOLF, a high school student whose fate intertwines with the ancient Nightshade clan. The attack on Bajil during a basketball game sparked a series of revelations, leading down a path of werewolf legacies and concealed identities. We are introduced to other werewolf clans: Silvercrest, Stormwolf, Bloodmoon, and Shadowfawn. Each clan brings its unique history, abilities, and dynamics to the unfolding. Silvercrest clan possesses a unique ability for telepathic communication. They can transmit thoughts, emotions, and messages silently to one another. Stormwolf, known for its resilience and connection to the element of wind. Bloodmoon, a clan marked by its ancient traditions and close ties to the lunar cycle. And Shadowfawn, shrouded in mystery and often associated with shadow manipulation, all play a part in the complex web of werewolf society. We encountered the enigmatic Xavier Jolene, a figure steeped in werewolf history, and his father Elijah, a repository of ancient knowledge and wisdom. The Silvercrest clan, with its own secrets, emerged as a key player, adding layers to the unfolding narrative. The plot thickened as a mysterious assailant, possibly from within the Silvercrest clan, targeted Bajil. The revelation of dormant genes and the connection to the Nightshade clan hinted at a tapestry of werewolf history waiting to be unraveled. Amidst these dynamics, we glimpsed a snippet of a monumental event: the Werewolf Emperor, the leader of the Nightshade clan, who held dominion over all werewolf clans. The significance of this werewolf emperor in the grand tapestry remains to be mystery. The arrival of seasoned Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather, whose investigation into the attack added a layer of police procedural drama to the supernatural tale. Episode 3 In the Shadows, September 17th, Sunday 2023. In the heart of the moonlit afternoon, within the concealed grounds where shuddered beneath the weight of the werewolf's roar. It echoed through a primal symphony that sent shivers down the spines of those who may hear it. The howl was more than a sound. It was a force, a proclamation of power that reverberated through the moonlit. The air itself seemed to quiver with the intensity of the creature's untamed voice, a call that two werewolves engaged in tense practice. The air crackled with energy as their agile forms danced between shadows. Their movements were choreography of power, finesse, strength, and strategy. The clash of fangs and claws, the rustle of fur against the wind, painted an ominous yet mesmerizing spectacle. Each move was a prelude to the looming tournament, an event that promised a showcase of the werewolves' prowess. The identities of the two werewolves remained elusive, their features masked by the shadows, their low growls and exchanged words. The first werewolf, with a voice that resonated like distant thunder in the shadows: strength is born, and power is claimed. We are silent warriors, unseen protectors. Our howl, a symphony in the night, reverberates through the eons. The second werewolf, a voice carrying the grace of the wind as the moon watches. We become. In the dance with darkness, resilience emerges, and our secrets become of the unseen. We are guardians of the night, keepers of the untold. Transitioning from afternoon to moments ago in the morning of the intense practice fight, we find ourselves within the mystical confines of Xavier Jolene's secluded facility. The room is bathed in an otherworldly dim glow as Bajil opens his eyes. Lay on a bed, the subtle glow of the room revealing the contours of his face. As consciousness returned, his eyes flickered open to the strange, comforting glow that permeated the air. Xavier Jolene, a figure whose presence resonated with wisdom and history, sat nearby with a cup of first flush Darjeeling tea. The atmosphere seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy. The room held its breath, as if the very walls were privy to the unfolding of secrets. As Bajil's gaze met Xavier's, the latter's silver-red eyes seemed to pierce through the veil of the unknown. A mysterious good morning hung in the air, carrying with it the weight of unspoken revelations. The room, suspended in a moment between worlds, awaited the awakening of Bajil-WOLF and the unraveling of the mysteries that clung to his unleashed. In this charged silence, the two figures, one waking from the realms of unconsciousness and the other shrouded in the wisdom of ages, exchanged a powerful unknown quote. Xavier's words reverberated through the room, each syllable carrying the weight of knowledge. Awake, Bajil-WOLF, to the symphony of the unseen. In the tapestry of shadows, find the threads of your strength. The unknown is your canvas, paint with the hues of revelation. The room resonated with the echo of Xavier's profound words, and as they dissipated into the mystical ambience, the subtle glow in the room seemed to intensify, as if responding to the words released by Xavier's enigmatic quote. Bajil, still groggy from the veils of unconsciousness, absorbed the essence of Xavier's message. The symphony of the unseen, a rhapsodic invitation to explore the hidden dimensions of his existence. The valance of shadows, a metaphorical canvas upon which Bajil was invited to weave his own narrative. Xavier's words lingered in the air, creating an atmosphere charged with anticipation. The room, suspended in a moment between dreams and wakefulness, witnessed the beginning of Bajil's into the unknown shadows. The hues of revelation waited to be painted on his canvas. Bajil's eyes, now more alert, met the silver-red eyes' gaze upon him. Questions flooded his mind. The mysterious atmosphere in the room only intensified as Bajil, still in the throes of awakening, mustered the strength to ask, "Who are you, and what is going on? What happened, and what did you mean by the quote you said to me?" The air in the room seemed to hum with a subtle energy, as if the very fabric of reality was responding to the exchange between mentor and mentee. Xavier, with a calm demeanor that bespoke eons of wisdom, leaned forward slightly. His response carried the weight of ages and the enigma of the supernatural. "I am Xavier Jolene, and what has transpired is a journey into the heart of the unknown. Ninetails-WOLF," he began, his voice resonating with a tranquil authority. "You have been unleashed, awakened to the latent powers within you. The quote I shared holds the essence of our werewolf heritage, a heritage that connects us to the symphony of the unseen and the tapestry of shadows." Bajil's gaze intensified, a mix of confusion and curiosity. Xavier continued, "The unknown is your canvas, Bajil. The abilities that lie dormant within you are now stirring, waiting to be explored. In the dance of shadows, you'll find the strength to navigate the complexities of our world." As Xavier spoke, the room seemed to respond. The ethereal glow took on a warmer hue, casting a soft radiance that enveloped Bajil. The awakening within him resonated with the resonance of Xavier's words. A subtle hum seemed to fill the air, a harmony between the awakening werewolf and the ancient wisdom that Xavier embodied. The room, for a fleeting moment, became a sanctuary where the tangible and the mystical intertwine. "What lies ahead is one of self-discovery, where the symphony of the unseen will guide you," Xavier continued, his voice a soothing cadence. "As for what happened, you were targeted, and your dormant werewolf genes were activated. This event is a pivotal point, not just in your life, but in the tapestry of our werewolf community." Bajil's thoughts raced. "With so many questions to ask, he say what you mean by me being targeted and werewolves and dormant werewolf genes?" Xavier leaned forward, his silver-red eyes holding a depth of understanding. "Bajil, you were targeted because you carry the bloodline of the Nightshade clan. The assailant sought to awaken the dormant werewolf genes within you, genes that connect you to a lineage of extraordinary beings. This is not just an attack, it's a revelation of your heritage." Bajil's mind whirred, the implications sinking in. The idea that someone deliberately sought to activate his werewolf abilities raised more questions. But why? What does the Nightshade clan represent, and why is it so significant? The Nightshade clan, Xavier began, choosing his words with care, was a clan of great power and influence among werewolves. They were known for abilities that surpassed the ordinary, and the leader of this clan held the title of the Werewolf Emperor, governing over all werewolf clans. The Nightshade clan disappeared eons ago, leaving behind mysteries that echo through time. Bajil absorbed the weight of the revelation. Werewolf emperors, ancient clans, and a legacy that extended beyond the boundaries of his understanding, weaved into the very fabric of his being. So, the attacker wanted to awaken these Nightshade genes within me? But why now, and who could be behind it? Xavier's gaze held a hint of concern. These are questions we seek answers to. The timing of the attack, the reappearance of Nightshade abilities, and the connection to the Werewolf Emperor, all of these are pieces of a puzzle that we're only beginning to assemble. Bajil's mind whirled with a tumult of emotions, each revelation stacking upon the other. The awareness of werewolves among them and the dormant werewolf genes within him had already been a staggering revelation. But the depth of his connection to the Nightshade clan and the role he played in a grand tapestry of werewolf history left him grappling for understanding. I'm part of something ancient, something that goes beyond anything I could have imagined, Bajil mused, his voice a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Bajil took a deep breath, trying to absorb the enormity of his newfound reality. "Tell me about the werewolves clan you speak and my abilities." Xavier, sensing Bajil's need for understanding, began to unravel the mysteries of the werewolf clans and Bajil's newfound abilities. The werewolf society is intricate, woven with the legacies of 4 prominent clans: Silvercrest, Stormwolf, Bloodmoon, and Shadowfawn, Xavier explained. Each clan possesses unique abilities that stem from ancient traditions and connections to different elements. He delved into the descriptions. Silvercrest clan, known for their telepathic communication. Silvercrest members can transmit thoughts, emotions, and messages silently among themselves. This ability enhances their unity and coordination. Stormwolf clan, endowed with resilience and a connection to the element of wind, Stormwolves navigate physical stress with ease. Their strength lies not just in sheer power, but in their ability to endure. Bloodmoon clan, tied closely to the lunar cycle, the Bloodmoon clan draws strength from the phases of the moon. Their abilities are at their peak during the full moon, and their ancient traditions shape their unique powers. Shadowfawn clan, shrouded in mystery, the Shadowfawn clan is associated with shadow manipulation. They can navigate darkness with ease, and their powers often extend to illusions and stealth. As for your abilities, Bajil's, Xavier continued, your dormant nightshade genes, now awakened, tie you to a clan unknown for its profound connection to the unseen. Nightshade werewolves possess abilities beyond the ordinary. These include heightened senses, enhanced strength, and agility. Honing these gifts, understanding your werewolf abilities, and navigating the intricate web of alliances and conflicts that shape our world. Bajil, though overwhelmed, absorbed this information like a sponge. He realized that his existence was now intricately woven into a tapestry of werewolf history, and he would need to embrace this new reality. As we delve deeper into your abilities, Bajil, you'll learn to control your transformations, tap into your strengths, and navigate the complexities of our community, Xavier reassured him through telepathic communication, a testament to the unique power of the Silvercrest clan. Xavier continued to unravel the layers of Bajil's newfound existence. Your healing abilities, for instance, are a manifestation of the Nightshade clan's connection to vitality. Werewolves, in general, possess enhanced physical attributes: strength, speed, hearing, healing, and agility. But the Nightshade clan takes it a step further. Your body can mend itself with remarkable speed, allowing you to recover swiftly from injuries. Bajil's mind buzzed with questions, and Xavier continued to provide insights into the unknown. Our kind has strengths that go beyond the physical. Heightened senses allow us to perceive the world in ways humans cannot fathom. Your sense of smell, sight, and hearing will become keener with time. It's a gift, Bajil, a way of connecting with the essence of the world around you. The young werewolf listened intently, grappling with the enormity of the revelations. And there's more, aspects even we don't fully understand, Xavier added, emphasizing the mysteries that still clung to their existence. As you embark on this, Bajil, you'll uncover facets of your abilities that are unique to you. The unknown is vast, and each werewolf's is a personal exploration into the depths of their potential. As Xavier speaks to him, Bajil in surprise asks, "Did you just talk through me by telepathic?" Xavier's silver-red eyes sparkled with a knowing glint as Bajil voiced his surprise. "Yes, Bajil. Our clan, the Silvercrest, possesses the ability of telepathic communication. It's a gift that allows us to exchange thoughts, emotions, and information without the need for spoken words. As you progress, you'll learn to master this skill, connecting with others in ways that transcend the limitations of ordinary communication." Bajil, still coming to terms with the revelations, marveled at the depth of these newfound abilities. The notion of telepathic communication added another layer to the intricate balance of werewolf capabilities. It was as if he had been handed a key to a secret realm, where the boundaries between minds could be traversed with mere thoughts. Xavier continued, "Telepathy is a powerful tool in our community. It fosters unity, enables discreet communication, and strengthens the bonds between clan members. It's a language of the mind, Bajil, one that goes beyond spoken words and reaches the essence of understanding." As Bajil absorbed this information, he felt a sense of awe mingled with a tinge of trepidation. The world he had known was expanding, revealing facets that were beyond the scope of ordinary human existence. The intricate dance of werewolf abilities unfolded before him. "Embrace these gifts, Bajil," Xavier encouraged. "They are a reflection of the rich heritage and potential within you. The discovery, and each revelation will bring you closer to the true essence of what it means to be a werewolf." As Bajil resolve flickered in his eyes, the realization that he was part of a lineage with such intricate abilities stirred a mix of wonder within him. Xavier, perceiving the shift in Bajil's demeanor, continued to impart guidance. In the upcoming days, you'll undergo a period of adaptation. Your senses will sharpen, your instincts will heighten, and you'll feel the ebb and flow of the moon's influence on your being, Xavier explained. It's a transformative process, a merging of the ordinary and the extraordinary. As a werewolf, you are attuned to the natural rhythms of our world, and in embracing this connection, you'll unlock a reservoir of strength and insight. Bajil absorbed this information, contemplating the profound changes that awaited him. The idea of becoming attuned to the moon's phases and harnessing the energies it bestowed felt both mystical and empowering. The very fabric of his existence seemed to be rewoven with threads of ancient wisdom. Xavier, resonating in Bajil's mind. The moon holds a profound influence on our abilities. As a werewolf, your connection to the lunar cycle is a source of strength and a guide in understanding the ebb and flow of your powers. Bajil's thoughts swirled with questions, and he couldn't help but voice one of them. Your eyes, Xavier. They glow with an intensity I've never seen before. Is it something to do with being a werewolf? Xavier's response echoed both in Bajil's mind and through the air. Indeed, Bajil. The silver-red glow of my eyes signifies the depth of my connection to my werewolf heritage. It is a visual manifestation of the energies that course through me, and it intensifies during moments of heightened emotion or focused use of my abilities at will. As the telepathic connection faded, Xavier's physical presence took precedence. His piercing silver-red eyes meeting Bajil's gaze directly. Your transformative process has just begun, and you be here for 2 days. During this time, helping you acclimate to the changes. It's a crucial phase. As for what lies ahead, Xavier continued, speaking through voice, you'll return to your parents and school, maintaining a delicate balance between your normal life and your newfound abilities. Bajil asked it, will you say able to control your powers, and how many days have I been asleep? Xavier smiled in response to Bajil's questions. Yes, Bajil, with time and training, you'll gain more control over your werewolf powers. It's a gradual process. As for the days you've been asleep, Xavier paused, reflecting, it's been 3 days since the incident at the Northwoods crime scene. Your body needed time to heal and adjust to the changes. As if on cue, the door to the room opened, and Dr. Olivia Hawthorne, the medical expert of the Silvercrest clan, entered. Her presence exuded a blend of authority and warmth. Good morning, Bajil. How are you feeling today? Bajil, still processing the revelations, managed a nod. I'm trying to make sense of everything. Dr. Hawthorne approached, her eyes assessing Bajil's condition. It's perfectly normal to feel overwhelmed, especially considering what you've discovered about yourself. But you're not alone in this. The Silvercrest clan is here to guide and support you. Bajil appreciated the reassurance, but couldn't shake off the curiosity about his own abilities. Xavier mentioned that I'll learn to control my transformations. How does that work? Dr. Hawthorne explained, your transformations are closely tied to the lunar cycle. During the full moon, the werewolf abilities are at their peak, and you may experience a more involuntary shift. However, with practice and understanding, you'll gain control, even during other phases of the moon. Bajil absorbed the information, realizing that his life had taken an unexpected turn into the mystical and the extraordinary. As he contemplated his newfound reality, the room seemed to hold a profound silence, as if acknowledging the gravity of the conversation. Xavier interjected, Bajil, your journey has just begun, and you have the guidance of the Silvercrest clan. I'll oversee your training, Bajil. We'll start gradually, focusing on control and understanding. It's essential to build a strong foundation. Dr. Hawthorne, with a reassuring smile, approached Bajil. Let me show you a practical example of what I mean by controlling your werewolf abilities. She extended her hand, and as if in response to an unseen cue, her hand underwent a subtle transformation. The fingertips elongated slightly, and the nails took on a silver hue. This is a simple demonstration, Dr. Hawthorne explained, of how you can willfully control certain aspects of your werewolf abilities. The key is to develop a connection with your innate powers and learn to direct them consciously. Bajil observed the transformation with a mix of shock, awe, and curiosity. The idea that werewolf abilities could be harnessed and controlled opened up a world of possibilities. So, it's like shaping my abilities according to my will? Dr. Hawthorne nodded. Exactly, Bajil. It's about tapping into your inner strength and directing it purposefully. As you progress in your training, you'll discover the nuances of your unique abilities and how to wield them effectively. Xavier added, each werewolf is unique. We guide you, but the path you take will be your own. Embrace it, and you'll find strength in every revelation. Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather entered the bustling 24 precinct, the morning sunlight filtering through the windows. The precinct hum of activities surrounding them. Papers shuffled, phones rang, and the constant chatter of officers filled the air. The 24 precinct was alive with the rhythm of a city on the edge. As they made their way to their desks, discussing the questions lingering from yesterday's interrogation of Coach Stephen, Preston, a detective known for his keen instincts, leaned back in his chair. Ikri, something about Coach Stevens bothers me. He mentioned Ninetails-WOLF was fine during the basketball game, then why was he at the Northwood Park? It doesn't add up. We should look into that more closely. Ikri, her eyes focused and sharp, nodded in agreement. I noticed that too. It could be a crucial piece of the puzzle. We need to dig deeper into Coach Stevens' statement and see if there's more to the story. Preston opened a file containing photographs from the crime scene. First, let's talk about the unusual footprint we found at the North Woods. It's massive, unlike anything I've seen before. We need to identify the origin of that print. It might lead us to something or someone connected to the attack. Ikri, scrolling through the images on her computer, examined the footprint. Agreed. This could be a significant clue. I'll check with our forensics team and see if they can match it to any known prints in the database. If it's an animal, we should be able to identify the species. As they delved into the details of the crime scene, Preston's expression grew more thoughtful. And then there's Bajil's. The police reports say his friends Lisa Rodriguez, Jesus, and Ariel Medina brothers, Adrian Crittenden, and Servant J. Toro find him at the North Woods when the game was at halftime. We should interview them, see if they noticed anything unusual or if Bajil mentioned anything before the incident. Before they could proceed with the interviews, two other officers approached their desks, their expressions serious. Officer Wong, an investigator, spoke first. Preston, Ikri, we've got an update on the footprint analysis. It doesn't match any known animal prints in our database. It's as if whatever left that mark isn't part of our natural fauna. Preston exchanged a glance with Ikri, both detectives absorbing the significance of the information. That complicates things, Ikri commented. If it's not an animal, then what are we dealing with here? Officer Martinez, the other officer, chimed in, there's more. We cross-referenced the footprint with any recent missing person reports or unusual incidents in the area. Nothing. It's like whatever left that print is completely off the grid. Preston leaned forward, his gaze narrowing. This is getting stranger by the minute. We need to find out more about that footprint, and it might lead us to the heart of this mystery. As the officers conferred, the realization sank in that they were dealing with something beyond the ordinary. The North Woods incident with Bajil's, and now this inexplicable footprint created a puzzle with missing pieces. Preston spoke with determination. Let's not waste any more time. We'll start with interviewing Bajil's friends and then his parents. Whatever happened in those woods might hold the key to unraveling this mystery. Preston and Ikri, armed with questions and determination to unravel the truth, left the 24 precinct headed to 1160 Fifth Avenue, New York, 10029. Their destination, Servant J. Toro's residence. The anticipation of shedding light on the events that transpired in the North Woods weighed heavy on their minds. Understanding Servant's parents or legal guardians would need to be present during questioning while dealing with a minor. Upon reaching the address, a modest yet well-kept apartment building, the detectives climbed the stairs to the designated floor. Upon reaching the door, Preston knocked with a sense of purpose. After a moment, the door swung open, revealing Servant's parents or legal guardians along with Servant, a young man with a mix of curiosity and wariness in his eyes. "Detectives, what can I do for you?" asked one of the adults, their tone a blend of caution and cooperation. Preston, offering a reassuring nod, replied, "We're investigating the incident at the North Woods a few nights ago, the 15th this past Friday. We heard Servant was with Ninetails-WOLF when it happened. Mind if we ask a few questions?" Servant J. Toro and his parents welcomed the detectives into their living room. The atmosphere was a mix of curiosity and apprehension, as everyone understood the seriousness of the situation. Servant, a teenager with an athletic build, took a seat alongside his parents. Preston Locke, seated across from Servant, began with a measured tone, "Thank you for cooperating. We're here to understand what happened at the North Woods a few nights ago. We heard you were with Ninetails-WOLF. Able to walk us through the events of that night?" Servant, glancing at his parents, nodded and began recounting the events. "We were at the Silver Moon High basketball game." Servant recounted the events of that fateful night, his words carrying the weight of the unknown. Silver Moon High versus Crossville Academy, Bajil left during halftime, him leaving the game without letting anyone know, sneaking away from the gym. We all noticed Adrian, Jesus, Ariel, Lisa, seeing him leaving the game, and me. We gave chase, and about 15 minutes later, we heard a loud scream, found him at North Woods, unconscious, injured, and covered in blood. We were all in shock, and Sorvent, I called 911 right away. Preston Locke and Ikri Shao Bluefeather exchanged glances, absorbing the gravity of the situation. The timeline of events unfolded like each revelation leading to more questions than answers. The sudden departure of Bajil during halftime, the pursuit through the city streets, and the shocking discovery in the secluded North Woods, all elements of a puzzle that begged for careful scrutiny. As the detectives delved deeper into the details, Sorvent's parents observed with a mix of concern and curiosity. The presence of law enforcement in their home signaled a level of seriousness that left them on edge. Preston, contemplating the unfolding narrative, decided to inquire further. Sorvent, did Bajil give any indication of why he wanted to leave the game? Any unusual behavior or conversations? Sorvent's response, I think he was just frustrated, Sorvent admitted, his expression tinged with empathy. Bajil had been working hard, practicing day and night, and yet, he found himself on the bench again during the basketball game. I guess he needed some space or fresh air to clear his head. Preston Locke, sensing the delicate nature of the situation, approached the topic with a measured tone. It's not uncommon for players to feel the weight of expectations, especially in high-stakes games, Preston remarked, his gaze steady. Sorvent, did Bajil ever express concerns about the game or share his frustrations with you or the rest of the team? Sorvent nodded, yeah, he talked about it sometimes. He loved the game, and he was passionate about contributing to the team. It was tough for him to be on the bench when he felt he could make a difference. Ikri Shao Bluefeather, considering the emotional backdrop, asked, did he ever mention anything specific that might have triggered his frustration on that particular night? Sorvent pondered the question for a moment before responding, not really. Like I said, all noticed him leaving the game. We gave chase about 15 minutes later. We heard a loud scream and found him at North Woods, unconscious, injured, and covered in blood. We never expected things to take such a dark turn. Preston, sensing the situation towards the conversation. Sorvent, did you notice anything unusual or any strange signs around the North Woods area when you found Bajil? Sorvent took a moment to recall the scene. It was dark, and we were focused on Bajil. Shook his head. No, we were more concerned about Bajil. Detective Ikri Shao Bluefeather furrowed her brow. Nothing at all? Sorvent Nope shook his head. No, we were more focused and concerned about Bajil. Preston Locke noted the information. Thanks for sharing, Sorvent. We'll look into investigation. If you remember anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Arriving at Adrian Crittenden's address, the detectives found themselves in front of an elegant brownstone on the Upper East Side. The ambience of wealth and sophistication contrasted sharply with the shadows of the North Woods crime scene. Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather approached the door, ready to delve into the next chapter of their investigation. After arriving at the location, the detectives were met with a mix of curiosity and concern from Adrian's parents. Adrian, a 16-year-old high school student, recognized the gravity of the situation. Detective Locke and Officer Shao Bluefeather took a moment to explain to Adrian's parents the ongoing investigation and the need for parental involvement due to Adrian's age. Once the parents were briefed, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Family dynamics, the fear of the unknown, and the weight of the situation hung in the air. Detective Locke and Officer Shao Bluefeather proceeded with sensitivity, understanding the delicate balance between uncovering the truth and respecting the emotions of those involved. Adrian, Detective Locke began, we appreciate your cooperation. We understand this is a challenging situation for you and your family. Our goal is to gather information that will help us understand what happened to Bajil Wolf that night at North Woods. Adrian nodded, a mix of apprehension and willingness in his eyes. The detectives, cognizant of the emotional landscape, directed their questions with care. Can you tell us what you observed that night at North Woods? Officer Shao Bluefeather inquired. Adrian took a deep breath, his words reflecting the weight of the memories. Bajil left during halftime. We noticed him sneaking away from the gym. Sorvent, Lisa, Jesus, Ariel, and I, all his friends, we chased after him. About 15 minutes later, we heard a scream and found him at North Woods, unconscious, injured, and covered in blood. The room fell into a tense silence. Adrian's parents, seated nearby, exchanged concerned glances. The detectives carefully probed further. Did you notice anything unusual at the crime scene? Any signs, footprints, or anything out of the ordinary? Adrian pondered the question, recalling the surreal nature of that night. No, nothing unusual. It all happened so fast. We never expected things to take such a dark turn. As they concluded the interview with Adrian, Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather thanked him and his parents for their cooperation. The weight of the situation lingered in the room, a palpable tension that mirrored the gravity of the unfolding investigation. Thank you, Adrian. We may have more questions as the investigation progresses. If you remember anything else, please don't hesitate to contact us, Detective Locke said, his tone conveying a mix of professionalism and understanding. The detectives left the residence, stepping out into the brisk New York air. The puzzle of the North Woods incident was far from complete, and each witness account added both clarity and complexity to the narrative. As Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather approached 1214 Fifth Avenue, the residence of Jesus and Ariel Medina, they were met with a sense of anticipation. The investigation had already woven a complex tapestry, and hopes the brothers held pieces crucial to unraveling the mystery of the North Woods incident. Upon reaching the front door, the detectives were greeted by the parents of Jesus and Ariel. Detective Locke extended his gratitude for their cooperation and explained the nature of their inquiry. The parents, concerned yet willing to assist, led the detectives to a quiet room where Jesus and Ariel awaited. The room held an air of nervous tension as the detectives introduced themselves. Thank you for being willing to speak with us. We understand this is a challenging time, and we appreciate your cooperation, Detective Locke began, his demeanor a blend of professionalism and empathy. As the questioning unfolded, the brothers recounted their version of events on the night of the incident. Jesus, the elder brother, spoke with a measured tone, while Ariel, the younger, added details that filled in the gaps of their collective memory. We were all watching the game together, and we all seen Bajil left during halftime. It was unusual because he didn't say anything, just got up and left, Jesus explained. We all gave chase, and when we found him at North Woods, it was like a scene from a nightmare. Ariel, visibly affected by the memory, added, he was unconscious, and there was blood. We called for help right away. Servant call 911, it was really scary. Detective Locke and Officer Shao Bluefeather listened intently, their questions probing for any details that might shed light on the mysterious circumstances. The brothers' account aligned with the other witnesses, painting a consistent picture of Bajil leaving the game abruptly and the subsequent discovery at North Woods. As the interview concluded, Detective Locke expressed his gratitude to Jesus and Ariel, acknowledging the difficulty of the situation. If anything else comes to mind, or if you remember any additional details, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Every piece of information is valuable. Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather left the residence of Jesus and Ariel Medina, the weight of the unfolding investigation pressed on their thoughts. The puzzle of the North Woods incident was becoming more intricate, with each witness providing a piece that added complexity to the narrative. Their next destination was 4 East 79th Street, the residence of Lisa Rodriguez. The journey into the unknown continued, and with Lisa being a very close friend of Bajil, her account held the potential to reveal crucial details about the events that transpired on that fateful night within the shadows. Upon arriving at the Rodriguez residence, the detectives were greeted by Leo and Jenna Rodriguez, Lisa's parents. The atmosphere was tense, and the detectives were mindful of the delicate nature of their questioning. Inside, Lisa sat with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. Detective Locke began, "Thank you for agreeing to speak with us. We understand that this is a challenging time, and we appreciate your cooperation. We're here to gather information about the events that occurred on the night of the incident." As Lisa recounted her version of events, the detectives listened intently. Her narrative aligned with the previous accounts, with Bajil leaving the game during halftime, his friends giving chase, and the subsequent discovery at North Woods. As the questioning progressed, the detectives received an unexpected breakthrough. Leo Rodriguez, Lisa's father, interrupted the interview with a sense of urgency. "Detectives, I think you should know. During the next day, at the New York Presbyterian Hospital, a man named Xavier Jolene arrived and took Bajil Wolf away." Detective Locke and Officer Shao Bluefeather exchanged glances, the surprise breakthrough adding a layer of intrigue to the investigation. Xavier Jolene's involvement raised new questions, and the dynamics of the case were taking an unexpected turn. Jenna Rodriguez, Lisa's mother, added another layer to the revelation. Before Xavier arrived, the doctors were speaking to Bajil's parents. They were astonished at the rapid healing of his injuries, something they've never seen before. As the revelation hung in the air, a tantalizing perplexed piece that added a new dimension to the unfolding mystery. Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather exchanged glances, silently acknowledging on the unexpected event had been revealed to them. The hospital scene replayed in their minds, doctors confounded by the inexplicable healing of Bajil's injuries. Jenna's words echoed the sentiments of the medical professionals who had witnessed something beyond the realms of conventional understanding. Bajil's recovery was not just rapid, it was unprecedented. The detectives contemplated this new development. A sense of urgency fueled their next steps. If Bajil's injuries were healing at an extraordinary rate, what other secrets lay beneath the surface of this enigmatic case? Xavier Jolane's involvement now took on an even more significant role, a key player that transcended the boundaries of the natural world. As the detectives decided to delve deeper into Xavier Jolane's connection to Bajil and the events at North Woods, they left the Rodriguez residence. The city around them seemed to hum with an unseen energy. The journey into the unknown shadows had just become more complex, and the answers they sought lay shrouded in the mystique of Moonfall. In the heart of moonlit afternoon, September 17th, Sunday 2023, sun-bathed Ravine Park in a golden glow, casting long shadows as the natural amphitheater echoed with the sounds of nature. The tranquil setting, usually reserved for leisurely strolls and picnics, became the arena for a ferocious battle between two powerful werewolves. The tranquility of a clash that transcended the boundaries of the human experience. Two figures, their identities masked by the shadows, faced each other in the heart of the park. The air crackled with energy of raw power that only werewolves possessed. A hush settled over the surroundings as the intensity of the impending battle became palpable. The clash reverberated through the quiet park, echoing the untamed forces at play. Sense the intensity of the encounter. Each move, a dance of raw power and primal instincts, spoke to the ancient lineage that these werewolves bore. Fierce snarls cut through the air as claws clashed with a force that could rend the very fabric of force of air. The werewolves moved with a grace that belied the savagery of their exchange, each movement calculated yet infused with a wild, untamed spirit. The first werewolf, his fur glistening in shades of brighter reddish-brown under the dappled sunlight, emanated an aura of stoic determination. The air seemed to vibrate with his presence as he prepared for the clash. His opponent, a shadowy figure with fur as dark as the deepest night, exuded an enigmatic energy, as if the very essence of darkness flowed through its veins. The confrontation began with a low growl, a prelude to the symphony of clashing fangs and the thunderous impact of powerful blows. Each move was a dance of primal instincts, a testament to the strength and agility inherent in their werewolf nature. The sounds of the clash, the impact of each blow, and the unearthly growls created a symphony of chaos and power that resonated in the heart of Brooklyn. The elements, one marked by brighter reddish-brown radiance and the other veiled in the mystique of shadows, created a spectacle that would etch itself into the lore. As the battle unfolded, leaves and dirt were sent spiraling into the air with each ferocious strike. The werewolves moved with an otherworldly grace, a testament to the centuries of instinctual combat embedded in their very beings. Their howls echoed through the ravine, a haunting symphony that resonated with the very soul of the park. This was not merely a confrontation, it was a testament to the deep-seated instincts in the ferocious ballet of teeth and claws. The very essence of their kind was raw, untamed, and undeniably power. The sun dipped low under the moonlit, casting an amber glow across Ravine Park in Brooklyn, New York. In this serene setting, a ferocious battle unfolded between two formidable werewolves, members of the Stormwolf clan. Julian Conflict Valerio, with fur ablaze in brighter reddish-brown hues, clashed with Demak Locko, his fur as dark as the deepest night. In the midst of their intense battle, a momentary pause allowed low growls and exchanged words. Julian, the first werewolf, spoke with a voice that resonated like distant thunder, his words carrying the weight of eons. In the shadows, strength is born and power is claimed. We are silent warriors, unseen protectors. Our howl, a symphony in the night, reverberates through the eon. Demak Locko, the second werewolf, responded with a voice that carried the grace of the wind. His words intertwined with the rustle of leaves, as if nature itself acknowledged the profound truths he spoke. As the moon watches, we become. In the dance with darkness, resilience emerges, and our secrets become of the unseen. We are guardians of the night, keepers of the untold. Their words, laced with the ancient wisdom of werewolf lore, added a layer of mystique to the already charged atmosphere. The battle continued, each werewolf drawing strength from the essence of the Storm Wolf clan. The bright reddish-brown and the deep darkness clashed and retreated, echoing through the trees. Their clash was not an ancient rivalry, but a precursor to the grand event that would soon grip the werewolf community, the Werewolf Tournament of Tempest. This tournament, with its name resonating like a thunderous howl through the supernatural realms, was the ultimate battleground for werewolves to showcase their prowess, resilience, and unique abilities. The atmosphere in Ravine Park crackled with energy as these Storm Wolf warriors engaged in a battle of epic proportions. Each strikes, each snarl, was not just a display of dominance, but a meticulous preparation for the impending tournament. The Werewolf Tournament of Tempest beckoned, promising a spectacle that would transcend the ordinary and plunge the participants into the heart of a tempestuous. In the midst of their frenzied battle, Julian and Demac were not merely rivals, they were comrades in arms, testing each other's limits and pushing the boundaries of their own capabilities. The spectators, if there were any, would witness not just a clash of fangs and fur, but a preview of the awe-inspiring performances that awaited at the tournament. The Werewolf Tournament of Tempest, with its magnetic allure, drew attention from werewolves far and wide. It was a competition reached a fever pitch. The name alone echoed through the werewolf's realms, promising a convergence of power, tradition, and the untamed beauty of all different werewolves. Amidst the aftermath of their intense sparring, Julian and Demac lowered their guard, transforming back human, the echoes of their ferocious battle still lingering in the air. The two Storm Wolf warriors now exchanged nods, acknowledging the strength they found in each other. As the Werewolf Tournament of Tempest loomed on the horizon, they took a moment to catch their breath and discuss the upcoming event. The tournament, with its promise of showcasing the might and skills of all different werewolves' clans, fueled their determination. Each werewolf, including Julian and Demac, saw it as an opportunity to not only prove their prowess, but to honor the ancient traditions. In the midst of their conversation, Footy, Mello, and Stephen returned from their reconnaissance. Exchange of information was swift and purposeful. They said Xavier and his team had successfully retrieved Bajil from the New York Presbyterian Hospital. The urgency of the situation had warranted their intervention and explained the intricacies of Bajil's condition. Their expressions communicated a blend of seriousness. Julian and Demac framed the scene. The air crackled with a mixture of tension and camaraderie as the two Storm Wolf warriors discussed the tournament and the unfolding mysteries surrounding Bajil. Their voice cut through the air, breaking the conversation. They steady gaze, conveying the gravity of the situation. The delicate nature of Bajil's condition lingered, unspoken yet palpable, addressing the unasked questions in each other's eyes. Time was of the essence. Xavier will provide more details. For the Werewolf Clan's leaders summit amidst the trees of Forest Park Pine Grove, Lysandra Dark Moon Glow Sapphire Eyes and Isolde Shadow Weaver Glow Lavender Eyes engaged in a dance of shadows and moonlight. Their intense battle, fueled by the spirit of the wild, resonated through the tranquil grove, an unspoken harmony in their movement. In the midst of the clash, Lysandra, her sapphire eyes gleaming with the intensity of the moon, spoke words that seemed to echo through the very essence of the forest. In the nocturnal embrace, our strength is not merely the echo of our howls, but the symphony of our resilience. We are beings of the moon's creation, weaving threads of decision with every stride. Isolde, her lavender eyes reflecting the mystery of the night, responded with a quote that carried the weight of untold secrets. As the shadows waltz and moonlight unveils, we discover the essence of our being. In the profound silence of the night, our strength rises, and in the depths of darkness, we emerge as sentinels of the unspoken. At Forest Park's Pine Grove crackled with energy not of hostility, but of a shared determination as Lysandra glowing sapphire eyes and Isolde glowing lavender eyes faced each other in a ferocious battle. The hues of their fur, Lysandra a deep sapphire blue and Isolde rich shadowy lavender, respectively, painted a mesmerizing picture in the dappled sunlight filtering through the dense foliage. Each clash of fur and fawn was a dance of precision, a testament to the mastery each werewolf had over their abilities. Their movements were a symphony of power and grace, each strike echoing through the secluded grove. The onlookers, if any were present, would have been captivated by the display of strength and agility. Their intense battle, Lysandra and Isolde exchanged not only physical blows, but also words of motivation, each werewolf voicing a unique mantra that resonated through the trees and lingered in the air like an ancient incantation. Lysandra, her fur shimmering in the sunlight, proclaimed with a voice that carried the echoes of the deep night sky, "In the heart of the night, strength rises." We are children of the moon, and in its embrace, we find the courage to face the shadows within ourselves. Isolde, her lavender fur blending seamlessly with the shadows, responded with a voice that seemed to weave through the air. In the dance of darkness, resilience is born. We are the keepers of the night, where every challenge is a chance to reveal the strength that dwells within. As the two Shadowfawn women warriors circled each other, the forest bore witness to the clash of contrasting hues, the sapphire and lavender merging and separating like an intricate dance. The motivational quotes, born from the depths of their werewolf essence, added a layer of depth to their battle, transforming it into more than a physical contest. The intensity of their fight carried on, the motivational words lingering in the air like a whisper of ancient wisdom. In this secluded grove, the women werewolves were not just warriors, they were embodiments of the night, each werewolf drawing strength from the other, a testament to the bond that united them as they prepared for the upcoming werewolf tournament of Tempest. The air in the pine grove settled as Lysandra and Isolde ceased their ferocious battle. The forest, having borne witness to their clash, seemed to exhale a sigh of relief as the two women warriors transformed back into their human forms. The vibrant hues of their fur faded, leaving behind the human counterparts, both breathing heavily from the exertion of their intense sparring. The silence of the grove was broken by the rustling of leaves under their feet as they approached each other, a shared understanding passing between them. As they settled onto a mossy patch, the sunlight filtering through the canopy above, Lysandra and Isolde turned their attention to the looming werewolf tournament of Tempest. The events of their battle had been not just a test of strength, but a preparation for the challenges that awaited them in the tournament. Lysandra, her eyes reflecting the intensity, spoke first. The werewolf tournament of Tempest approaches, and with it, the chance to showcase our strength, not just in battle but in the tournament. Isolde, her eyes holding a depth of wisdom, nodded in agreement. Our clash here was a dance, a preview of the power we bring to the tournament. We, as werewolves, must navigate them with grace and strength. Their conversation shifted to the ongoing events in the supernatural realm. Bajil Wolf's name hung in the air, a thread connecting the various werewolf clans. Xavier's involvement added an enigmatic layer to the unfolding mysteries, and the urgency of the situation was palpable. Isolde spoke, breaking the contemplative silence. Xavier's actions regarding Bajil raised questions. There's a tale untold, and I feel the echoes of its significance. We must tread carefully, for the shadows hold not just mysteries but revelations. Lysandra, her gaze fixed on the canopy above. The tournament approaches, and with it, clarity may emerge. For now, we prepare. Bajil's fate is intertwined with other clans, and the tapestry of the werewolf world unravels with each passing moment. The evening on September 17th, Sunday 2023 sun dipped low on the horizon as the Shadowfawn women warriors, Lysandra and Isolde, left the pine grove. Their footsteps blended with the rustle of leaves as they retreated into the shadows, the moon casting a gentle glow upon their forms. Their minds, still tingling with the remnants of their intense battle, shifted to the practicalities of the night. Showering away the traces of the forest, they emerged rejuvenated and ready for the night that lay ahead. A quick stop for nourishment brought them to a local eatery, where the scent of grilled meats and spices intermingled with the cool evening air. The bustling atmosphere provided a stark contrast to the serenity of New York, and the women warriors savored the transient normalcy before the storm of the tournament. Meanwhile, at Xavier Jolene's facility, the atmosphere was charged with a different kind of intensity. Bajil, having settled in after his awakening, found himself engaged in a discussion with Xavier and Dr. Olivia Hawthorne. The glow of Xavier's silver-red eyes held reassuring warmth as he spoke to Bajil about the complexities of werewolf abilities and the imminent werewolf tournament of Tempest. In the midst of this, Xavier's phone buzzed with the urgency of an incoming call. It was Scarlett Jolene, his wife. The room's aura shifted as Xavier excused himself to take the call, leaving Bajil and Dr. Olivia to exchange a brief glance. As Xavier spoke with Scarlett, the depth of the conversation hinted at the intricate balance he maintained between his responsibilities as a werewolf leader and his personal life. Scarlett's voice carried a mix of concern and understanding, a testament to the complexities of their shared journey. Midway through the call, another piece of the puzzle presented itself. Xavier received news from his clan members, scattered across the North Woods for the investigation. Orion Ironclaw, Lyria Ravensong, Solara Mooncrest, Ileana Moonshadow, Aldrich Stoneclaw, the Los Ironthorn, Aurelius Shadowblade, Astrid Moonleaf, Darian Frostborn, Cassia Silvercrest, and Phelan Silverthorn. All reported findings and discoveries. Scarlett's voice, accompanied by a gentle sigh, filled the room as she explained the details of the findings from the clan members scattered across the North Woods. Aware of the gravity of the situation, she decided to put Xavier on speaker, allowing him to hear directly from each member involved in the investigation. Darian Frostborn added his stoic voice to the mix. The resonance of battle clings to the air, and the marks left behind hint at an altercation of significant proportions. As the clan members shared their insights, a coherent image of the events at the North Woods began to form. It was a valance woven with threads of mystical energy and the palpable residue of an unknown clash. Orion Ironclaw's voice reverberated through the speaker. Detective Preston Locke and Officer Ikri Shao Bluefeather are involved in this, investigating the attack on Ninetails-WOLF. Their presence suggests that the mundane and the mystical are intertwining in ways we haven't seen before. The Los Ironthorn added, their involvement raises questions. Are they aware of the supernatural, or are they unwitting pawns in a larger game? We must tread carefully, for the lines between the known and the unknown blur in their presence. Eliana Moonshadow's voice, soft yet resolute, continued the narrative. Cassia Silvercrest and Phelan Silverthorn discovered werewolf footprints at the crime scene. The tracks suggest not just a random attack but a targeted strike, orchestrated with purpose. Solara Mooncrest, with her acute sense of smell, interjected, at the North Woods, I detected a faint but unmistakable scent, one that doesn't belong to any known werewolf. It's an enigma, an olfactory perplex that demands further investigation. Astrid Moonleaf, attuned to the natural, voiced her contemplation, but Jill's journey took him far from the basketball game. The ebb and flow of nature bears witness to his departure, and the echoes of his path resonate that reaches beyond the ordinary. Lyria Ravensong, the mystical seer, discerned the lingering traces of two distinct magical imprints. There was a clash of forces at the North Woods, a convergence of energies both ancient and potent. The magical imprints speak of powers not easily understood. The amalgamation of reports painted a complex picture, and Xavier's mind became a nexus of thoughts and theories. The involvement of law enforcement, the discovery of werewolf footprints, the enigmatic scent, and the traces of mystical energies all converged in a narrative that defied simple explanations. As the speakerphone fell silent, Scarlett's voice filled the room once more on each clan member's involvement of the investigation. The revelation hung in the air like a charged storm. Her voice, gentle yet firm, resonated in the room as she concluded. Xavier took a deep breath before addressing the clan. Thank you all for your insights. Now, there's something crucial you need to know. He hesitated for a moment. Bajil is a werewolf, Xavier revealed, his voice carrying the weight of utterance. But not just any werewolf. He bears an unknown gene, and there are traces of the Silvercrest gene within him. A stunned silence followed. The implications of Xavier's words rippled through the virtual meeting, leaving the clan members in a state of shock. The idea that Bajil, the seemingly ordinary high school student, harbored such extraordinary elements within him was beyond their expectations. Darian broke the silence. Unknown gene? Silvercrest traces? This goes beyond a mere attack. It's a divulgence that could reshape the dynamics of our clans. Astrid voiced her concern. If Bajil possesses Silvercrest traits, does that mean the assailant is one of us? A member of our own clan? Xavier said yes gravely over the speakerphone call. That's the implication. Someone from within our own ranks is involved in this. The attack on Bajil, the unknown gene, and the Silvercrest connection, it all points to a complex web of secrets within our own community. Orion, with a furrowed brow, added, we need to proceed with awareness. The Werewolf Clan's Leaders' Summit is approaching, and this divulgence could either unite us or sow the seeds of discord. We must uncover the truth and act accordingly. Scarlett's voice echoed the incredulity shared by the clan members. Unknown gene? Silvercrest traces? The assailant is one of us? How did you find this out, Xavier? Xavier voice over the speaker's smart cell phone, his voice serious. It was a combination of Bajil's unique condition and the findings at the North Woods. The werewolf footprints discovered by Eliana, Cassia, and Phelan, Solara's detection of a distinct scent, and Lyria's identification of two magical imprints, all pointed to something extraordinary. As Xavier spoke, Daniela and her sister Sophia entered the room, drawn by the intensity of the conversation. Marcus and Sebastian followed suit, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding events. Bajil is a werewolf, and his condition goes beyond the norm, Xavier explained. There's an unknown gene within him, and traces of the Silvercrest gene. This suggests that whoever attacked him is likely a member of our own clan. The room fell into a stunned silence. The weight of this divulgence hung in the air, visible in the expressions of those present. Daniela, Sophia, Marcus, and Sebastian exchanged glances, their minds processing the implications. Sophia, always quick-witted, broke the silence. "This is unheard of. A werewolf with an unknown gene? It's like something out of a legend." Daniela nodded in agreement. "And if the assailant is from our own clan, it means there's a traitor among us." Marcus, the eldest of the siblings, crossed his arms. "We need to find out who's behind this. If they're willing to harm a civilian or one of our own, it's a threat to all of us." Sebastian, the youngest, chimed in with youthful determination. "Let's get to the bottom of this. Bajil deserves justice, and our clan deserves the truth." Orion spoke first, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Bajil, a werewolf? This is unprecedented. This divulgence changes everything. We cannot afford to underestimate the gravity of this situation." The Los furrowed his brow in deep thought. The presence of an unknown gene and traces of Silvercrest blood. It raises questions about our own history and lineage. We must delve into our archives and seek answers. Eliana closed her eyes momentarily, as if communing with unseen forces. The threads of fate have woven a complex portiere indeed. We must tread carefully, for the repercussions of this discovery are far-reaching. Kasia spoke with a calm demeanor. "Indeed, Eliana, we must rely on our knowledge and expertise to navigate this challenge. Find the potential motives behind harming Bajil." Her analytical mind sought to understand the underlying dynamics at play. Phelan nodded in agreement, placed a reassuring hand on Kasia's shoulder. "We must prioritize Bajil's well-being, whatever his condition. He is now one of us, a werewolf, traces of Silvercrest clan, and an unknown gene. His journey as a werewolf has only just begun." Solara spoke up, her voice filled with determination, began assessing the trails of sense and energy she had encountered during her investigation. Her instincts kicked in as she tried to piece together the puzzle. "I will intensify my efforts to uncover any clues that may lead us to the assailant. No stone will be left unturned." Astrid with solemn authority. "Let us consult the wisdom of our ancient knowledge," delved into the clan's history, searching for any mention of an unknown gene or instances of internal strife in the past. Our ancestors faced trials and tribulations, must consult the ancient texts and seek guidance from our ancestors. They may hold the key to understanding this unprecedented situation. Lyria, the diplomatic envoy, emphasized the importance of communication and collaboration. "We must also consider how to address this acknowledgement with the wider werewolf community. Transparency will be key." Darian, the vigilant sentinel, his mind raced with strategies, clenched his fist, scanned the room with sharp eyes. "We can't afford to be caught off guard against potential internal threats. We will uncover the truth behind this mystery and ensure the safety of our clan and our kin." Aurelius, honor and integrity, nodded in agreement. Grappled with the idea that a fellow Silvercrest could betray their principles. "Let us remember our values and remain true to our principles. It is in times of adversity that our true strength shines through, as befits warriors of the Aldrich, the silent observer, listened intently to his clanmate's words, absorbed the information with a calm exterior, his expression unreadable. But his presence, steady and unwavering, spoke volumes of his commitment to the clan's cause. As Elijah stepped into the room where Xavier was deep in conversation over his luxury smartphone with Scarlet and the other clan members, his presence went unnoticed by all except Xavier, who felt his father's telepathic message resonate in his mind like a whisper in the silence. Xavier's brow furrowed imperceptibly as he received his father's instructions, his gaze flickering briefly in Elijah's direction before returning to the conversation. He understood the need for caution, for secrecy, especially in matters as delicate as this. Scarlet's voice continued to echo through the speakerphone, her concern evident in every word as she addressed the group. "Unknown gene? Silvercrest traces? The assailant is one of us? How did you find this out, Xavier?" Xavier's response was measured, careful not to reveal too much. "It was a combination of Bajil's unique condition and the findings at the North Woods," he explained, his voice steady. "The werewolf footprints discovered by Eliana, Kasia, and Phelan, Solara's detection of a distinct scent, and Lyria's identification of two magical imprints, all pointed to something extraordinary." Elijah watched his son with a mixture of pride and concern, his own thoughts shrouded in secrecy as he contemplated the implications of Bajil's condition and the potential threat it posed to the clan. As the conversation drew to a close, Elijah sent one final telepathic message to Xavier, urging him to end the call and discuss Bajil's training in private. Xavier nodded imperceptibly, his gaze meeting his father's for a brief moment before he addressed the group on the phone. Thank you all for your insights and input, he said, his voice carrying a note of authority. But for now, we must focus on Bajil's training. We will reconvene later to discuss further action. With that, Xavier ended the call. Bajil's training would begin in just 1 hour, and there was much to prepare for. Elijah and Xavier sat in the dimly lit room of the Silvercrest facility. The air was heavy with anticipation as they discussed the next steps in Bajil's training. We need to approach this with caution, Elijah began. Bajil is still young, and his powers are still developing. We can't afford to rush his training. Xavier nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. Agreed. We need to start slowly, focusing on the basics first. Once he has a solid foundation, we can move on to more advanced techniques. Elijah and Xavier conversed. Their thoughts gravitated towards the room where Dr. Olivia Hawthorne was currently attending to Bajil. They made their way to join her. Their anticipation mingled upon entering the room. They found Dr. Olivia seated beside Bajil, her demeanor calm and reassuring. Bajil, though visibly apprehensive, seemed receptive to her presence, a flicker of curiosity in his eyes as he listened to her words. Elijah, Xavier, Dr. Olivia greeted them with a nod, acknowledging their arrival. Bajil and I were just discussing the next steps in his training. Elijah approached Bajil with a reassuring smile, his fatherly instincts kicking in. How are you feeling, son? He asked, his voice gentle yet firm. Ready to begin your journey as a werewolf? Bajil met Elijah's gaze, a mixture of uncertainty reflected in his eyes. I think so, he replied hesitantly, his voice tinged with apprehension. It's all still so new to me. Xavier stepped forward. You're not alone in this, Bajil, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. We're here to guide you every step of the way. Dr. Olivia interjected. Indeed, we'll start with the basics, learning to control your transformation, harnessing your strength and agility. It will take time, but with patience and practice, you'll get there. Bajil nodded. I'm ready, he declared, his voice steady with resolve. I need to learn. As head nurse Alicia Silvercrest entered the room with the cart laden with food, the enticing aroma of Chinese cuisine filled the air, mingling with the savory scent of grilled chicken and seasoned shrimp. Bajil's eyes lit up at the sight of his favorite dishes, Chinese food, and his 1-liter Pepsi, his stomach rumbling in anticipation. Xavier's grilled chicken sandwich, adorned with crispy bacon and fresh vegetables, looked mouth-watering, while the side of waffle fries added an extra touch of indulgence. His herbal tea, black cherry berry, promised a refreshing accompaniment to the flavorful meal. Elijah's New York strip steak, expertly grilled to perfection, was accompanied by succulent jumbo shrimp skewers, each bite bursting with smoky tomato butter. The seasoned rice and mushrooms added depth to the dish, creating a symphony of flavors that danced on the palate. Along with his 1-liter Pepsi, drink all the food down. Dr. Olivia's meal of fried shrimp and crispy chicken fingers was a classic comfort food feast, served with seasoned fries and accompanied by a refreshing herbal tea, black cherry berry. As they sat down to enjoy their meals, conversation filled the room, creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere. They found solace in each simple pleasure of good food. As they savored each bite of their delicious meals, the atmosphere in the room became infused with warmth and camaraderie. The tension of the earlier discussion melted away. Elijah, the former patriarch of the Silvercrest clan, took a moment to introduce himself to Bajil Wolf, offering a reassuring smile. I'm Elijah, Bajil. I've been leader of the Silvercrest clan for many years. Now my son Xavier, the newly patriarch of the Silvercrest, has taken my place for many years. He then turned to address the group, providing them with more insight into Bajil's unique heritage. Bajil's genealogy is a fascinating one, Elijah began. His words carried the weight of centuries of werewolf history. He was the bearer of knowledge, the secrets woven into the very fabric of the Nightshade clan's existence. He began to unveil the mysteries hidden within the pages of the Lyconomicon. This unknown gene, Elijah began, his tone measured yet imbued with a sense of reverence, is a thread that connects Bajil to a legacy far more formidable than any other werewolf clan. He paused, allowing the significance of his words to sink in. The werewolf history book, called Lyconomicon, Elijah explained, was not merely a book but archives of the werewolf's past, present, and future. Within its pages lay the secrets of ancient bloodlines, the whispers of forgotten ancestors, and the prophecies that shaped the werewolves for generations. He hails from the Nightshade clan, a lineage known. What sets Bajil apart is his connection to the werewolf emperor, a rare and powerful lineage that carries with it immense potential. As the others listened intently, absorbing the information with a mixture of curiosity and fascination, the revelation of Bajil's added another layer of complexity to the already intricate tapestry of their foundation. Bajil, for his part, listened with rapt attention, his eyes wide with wonder at the newfound knowledge of his heritage. He had always felt different, but now realized that his uniqueness was something to be celebrated rather than feared. The unknown gene of Nightshade steeped in darkness and mystery, a manifestation of this legacy, a symbol of power and potential that transcended the boundaries of ordinary werewolf clans. It was a legacy forged in the fires of ancient battles, tempered by the trials of time, and re-emerged in you, Bajil-WOLF. As Elijah's words hung in the air, the room fell into a reverent silence. Bajil's eyes sparkled with curiosity, eager to learn more about his mysterious heritage. Xavier listened intently, his brow furrowed in concentration as he absorbed the weight of his father's acknowledgement. Dr. Olivia's expression was a mix of fascination and concern, her mind already spinning with questions about the implications of Bajil's lineage. "Bajil, do you understand what this means?" Elijah asked. Bajil nodded eagerly, his mind racing with newfound knowledge. "Yeah, it means that I'm part of something bigger than myself, something ancient and powerful," he replied, his voice filled with wonder. Dr. Olivia spoke next. "But what about the risks? If Bajil's gene is from the Nightshade clan that is unknown, does that mean he's in danger?" Elijah nodded gravely. "There are always risks when dealing with ancient bloodlines and hidden legacies," he admitted. "With knowledge comes power. By understanding Bajil's heritage, we able better prepare him for whatever challenges may lie ahead." Bajil's eyes widened with determination. "I want to learn everything possible about my heritage and how to control my abilities." After they finished their amazing meal and conversation, Xavier and Bajil leave the room to the training room to beginning his werewolf training, learning the basic first, leading Bajil down the corridor, the weight of their conversation still lingering in the air. As they reached the training room, Xavier turned to Bajil, his expression serious. "Are you ready for this, Bajil?" Xavier asked. "I'm ready," he declared, his voice steady. With a reassuring smile, Xavier opened the door to the training room, gesturing for Bajil to enter. "Let's begin," he said. Inside the training room, the air crackled with anticipation. Xavier guided Bajil to the center of the room. "We'll start with the basics. Anger and frustration is the most challenging emotions for werewolves to control. We need to learn how to harness it and channel it effectively." As Bajil standing in the center of the training room, he looks around his surrounding of the amazing equipment that is there, how huge the area is before Bajil about to say something. Xavier grabs a nice-sized ball, throws super fast at Bajil's face, hitting him instantly, pissing him off, angry him. His glowy yellow eyes with silver on the outside ring appear. Bajil speaking, "WTF? What was that for?" Anger surged like a tidal wave, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. Xavier is able to see the transformation happening before his eyes, the shift from confusion to fury as Bajil's werewolf instincts took over. As the ball flew back at him with incredible force, Xavier had time to react. He managed to catch it, but the impact shook his right hand to the core. The sheer strength behind Bajil's throw was astonishing, a clear sign of the raw power lurking within him. "Whoa, easy there, Bajil," Xavier said, his voice calm. "I needed to see how you'd react. And you reacted exactly as I expected." Bajil's eyes flickered with a mixture of anger and confusion. "What do you mean?" His voice tinged with frustration. Xavier took a deep breath, his gaze steady as he met Bajil's intense stare. "I needed to test your anger, Bajil," he explained. "As a werewolf, your emotions be a powerful force, especially your anger. I needed to see how you'd handle it." Bajil's expression softened slightly as he processed Xavier's words. He knew that controlling his emotions, especially his anger, would be crucial in mastering his werewolf abilities. But it was easier said than done, especially in the heat of the moment. "I understand," Bajil said finally, his voice quieter now. I don't want to lose control like that again." Xavier nodded in understanding, a sense of empathy in his eyes. "It's okay, Bajil," he said reassuringly. "We'll work on it together. Controlling your emotions takes time and practice, but I have faith in you." Xavier pats him on the back a few times, then out of nowhere Bajil staggered backward from the unexpected impact. His back slammed against the wall with a force that knocked the breath out of him. The suddenness of the action left him reeling, his mind struggling to process what had just happened. Xavier expression serious. "Again," he said firmly, his voice leaving no room for argument. Confusion and frustration welled up inside Bajil. With a deep breath, He pushed himself off the wall and steadied himself, his muscles tensed in anticipation. Without warning, Xavier lunged forward, his movements swift and precise. He aimed a powerful punch at Bajil's abdomen, testing his reflexes. Bajil managed to block the blow just in time, but the impact still sent shockwaves of pain rippling through his body. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Bajil fought back, launching a counterattack of his own. His fists flew with lightning speed, each strike landing with precision and force. Yet, as he fought, Bajil noticed something strange happening within him. It was as if a primal energy surged through his veins, guiding his movements with an instinctual precision that transcended his own understanding. With each strike, Bajil's senses sharpened, his reflexes honed to a razor's edge. He could feel the rush of adrenaline coursing through his body, heightening his awareness and enhancing his strength. It was as if he had tapped into a reservoir of power that lay dormant within him, waiting to be unleashed. As Bajil's anger reached its boiling point, a primal force surged through him, overtaking his senses and semi-transforming him into a creature of pure instinct and rage, not fully werewolf form. His muscles bulged, his eyes glowed yellow with silver on the outside ring, and his growls echoed through the training room like thunder. Xavier, taken aback by the sudden transformation, felt a wave of shock and apprehension wash over him. He had trained many werewolves before, but he had never seen anything like this. Bajil's berserk state was beyond anything he had ever encountered, and he knew that he had to act fast of the situation. Bajil lost in the throes of his berserk state. His movements were erratic and unpredictable, his attacks fueled by a primal fury that defied reason or logic. For a moment, it seemed as though Bajil would overpower me, his strength and ferocity unmatched. Xavier knew that he had to take drastic action to subdue Bajil and bring him back to his senses. With a swift and decisive motion, he lunged forward, surprise attack on knocking Bajil out cold. Slowly, gradually, Bajil's berserk state began to subside, his primal instincts giving way to a sense of clarity and control. Xavier breathed a sigh of relief. Any further fight last longer, I would have had to transform into my full werewolf form to stop him. This power from the Nightshade is unbelievable. With Bajil now unconscious, Xavier took a moment to collect himself, his mind racing with a whirlwind of emotions. He couldn't help but feel a sense of unease at the raw power he had just witnessed in Bajil's berserk state. The Nightshade lineage was indeed formidable, and Xavier knew that they would need to tread carefully in unlocking its full potential. As he looked down at Bajil's unconscious, he gently lifted him from the ground and carried him back to the room, laying him down. He glanced at the clock on the wall and realized that they had been training for 2 hours. Bajil's semi-transformation had taken its toll. Xavier, about to take his leave, couldn't help but reflect on the events of the day. The surprising fact: Bajil's Nightshade heritage had opened up a Pandora's box of possibilities. It had also brought with it a newfound sense of uncertainty within the shadows. As the bright morning sun heralded the start of a new day on September 18th, Monday 2023, deep within the confines of an underground sanctuary in New York, the training dojo was alive with the sound of intense clashes. The Blood Moon members, their forms transformed into powerful werewolves, engaged in rigorous sparring sessions, their movements swift and graceful as they danced across the fabric-covered floor. Karina, with her sleek, midnight black fur shimmering with a subtle red hue, locked eyes with Ileana, whose fur was a rich chestnut brown, highlighted with hints of gold. Karina's eyes glowed like embers, reflecting the depths of her fiery spirit, while Ileana's were like liquid gold, swirling with hidden depths and illuminating the darkness around her. On the other side of the dojo, Danielle's fur gleamed with the soft, moonlight glinting off a calm lake, reminiscent of pink hues. Her eyes were deep and mysterious, casting an ethereal glow that mesmerized all who gazed into them. Opposite her, Franceette's fur was a deep, russet red, reminiscent of autumn leaves ablaze with color. Her eyes burned with a fiery amber intensity, mirroring her fierce spirit and unwavering divination. As the two pairs of Blood Moon members continued their intense sparring, each one drawing upon their unique strengths and abilities, they exchanged motivational quotes to inspire one another in both their training and in life. Strength comes from within, Karina growled, her voice resolute as she dodged Ileana's swift strikes. Believe in yourself, and you can overcome any obstacle. Ileana in agreement, her eyes gleaming with divination. Embrace the challenges before you, she urged, her movements graceful yet powerful, for they are the stepping stones to greatness. Meanwhile, Danielle and Francette traded blows with practiced precision, their fur rippling with each movement. Never underestimate the power of perseverance, Danielle proclaimed, her voice calm yet unvacillating. Even in the darkest of times, it is the light within us that guides our way. Franceette's fiery amber eyes flashed with fierce resolve as she countered Danielle's attacks. Strength is not just physical, she declared, her voice echoing through the dojo. It is the strength of spirit that truly defines us. As the clash of she-wolves and the sound of their sparring filled the air, the Blood Moon members pushed themselves to their limits, drawing upon their inner strength and durability, preparing them for whatever challenges lay ahead in the werewolf tournament of Tempest. For in the heart of every warrior beat the indomitable spirit of the wolf. As the intensity of their training reached its peak, each member of the Blood Moon clan, Karina, her fur shimmering with the fiery essence of her spirit, moved with unparalleled agility, her glowing ember-like eyes focused on her opponent. With each strike, and movements fueled by an unwavering resolve to emerge victorious in the face of any challenge, Liana's eyes glowed with the radiant intensity of liquid gold, reflecting her unyielding determination. With every graceful movement, she embodied the grace and power of the werewolf, her spirit undaunted by the trials that lay ahead. On the opposite side of the dojo, Danielle's fur emitted a soft, ethereal glow reminiscent of moonlight, her eyes deep and mysterious as they locked onto Francette. With each step, she moved with a quiet confidence, her movements guided by an inner strength that transcendence. Francette's fiery amber eyes burned with an intensity that matched the ferocity of her attacks. Her russet red fur, ablaze with color, mirrored the passion and determination that drove her forward, her spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. As the clash of she-werewolves continued, their movements became a mesmerizing dance of power and grace, each strike a testament to their unwavering commitment and their shared goal of emerging victorious in the upcoming werewolf tournament of Tempest. Francette took a moment to catch her breath, turning to Danielle with a curious expression. "So, Danielle, what happened at New York Presbyterian Hospital? Why did Xavier show up, and what did he want with Bajil? Any insights into his condition?" Danielle met Francette's gaze. "It was quite the ordeal," Danielle began, her voice carrying the weight of their collective concern. "We managed to gather some information, but there are still many unanswered questions." The clash of their sparring continued in the background, a rhythmic symphony of movement and determination. Each strike and parry echoed through the training dojo, a testament to their unwavering dedication to their craft. Before Danielle could delve into further detail, Karina and Ileana, their eyes filled with curiosity and fur shimmering, moved closer to join the conversation, eager to hear Danielle's findings. "Tell us everything, we need to understand." Karina, Xavier's motives remain unclear, she admitted, her mind still grappling with the enigma. "But one thing is certain, Bajil's role in this is significant. We must unravel the truth." Ileana's eyes widened with interest, her gaze flickering with a mixture of surprise and intrigue. "That's quite unusual," she remarked, her mind already racing with possibilities. "But perhaps it's a sign of something greater at play." After the intense training session and conversation, the members of the Blood Moon clan made their way to the showers, the steam rising around them like tendrils of mist. The sound of laughter and camaraderie filled the air as they washed away the sweat and grime of their exertions, the scent of their favorite soaps and shampoos mingling together in a tantalizing bouquet. As they emerged, fresh and invigorated, they each took a moment to apply their makeup, enhancing their natural beauty with subtle touches of color and flair. The air was filled with the scent of perfume and cologne, a heady mix that enveloped them in a cloud of allure. With their spirits high and their appetites whetted, they made their way to the New York City dining restaurants, eager to replenish their energy with a hearty breakfast. The aroma of freshly brewed smoothies and sizzling bacon greeted them as they entered, their mouths watering at the sight of the delicious spread laid out before them. Meanwhile, across town, in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, the members of the Silvercrest clan were already deep into their own training regimen. In the secluded confines of their dojo at 1162 2nd Avenue, they sparred with a ferocity born of centuries of tradition and discipline. In one corner of the dojo, Marcus Jolene faced off against Cassius Silvercrest, their movements a blur of speed and precision as they exchanged blows with practiced ease. Across the room, the Los Ironthorn and Sebastian Jolene engaged in their own intense battle, the clash of their battle echoing through the air like lightning and thunder. Solara Mooncrest and Aliana Moonshadow danced across the training floor, their movements fluid and graceful as they sparred with a grace that belied their strength. And nearby, Phelan Silverthorn and Astrid Moonleaf exchanged blows with a ferocity that left no doubt as to their determination to emerge victorious. Marcus Jolene faced off against Cassius Silvercrest, their fur glistening under the dim lights of the dojo. Marcus's fur was a sleek, obsidian black, with a subtle silver undertone that caught the light with every movement. His eyes gleamed like molten silver, their inner layer of fiery crimson that seemed to flicker with an inner flame. Cash's fur, on the other hand, was a lustrous silver, with streaks of midnight blue running through it like ripples in a moonlit lake. Her gaze was like a stormy sea, swirling with secrets and hidden depths, the outer layer of her eyes rimmed with a band of silver, while within the silver ring, the inner layer of her eyes blazed with a deep sapphire blue, as though reflecting the depths of the ocean on a moonlit night. Across the room, the Los Ironthorn and Sebastian Jolene engaged in their own intense battle. Thalos's fur blazed with fiery red-orange hues, reminiscent of flames dancing in the darkness. His eyes held the intensity of a raging inferno, the silver outer layer framing fiery crimson that seemed to flicker with an inner flame. Within the silver ring, the inner layer of his eyes pulsed with a vibrant orange glow, casting an eerie light on his surroundings. Sebastian's fur was a rich, earthy brown, with highlights of copper and gold that gleamed in the light. His gaze was like polished steel, the outer layer of his eyes gleaming with a metallic luster, while within the silver ring, the inner layer of his eyes glowed with a piercing green hue, like the light filtering through dense foliage in a dark forest. Solara Mooncrest and Aliana Moonshadow danced across the training floor, their fur shimmering under the dojo's lights. Solara's fur was a soft, silvery white, with streaks of pale lavender running through it. Her eyes sparkled like moonlight on calm waters, the silver outer layer framing iridescent violet that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. Within the silver ring, the inner layer of her eyes radiated with a soft, ethereal light. Aliana's fur was a deep, velvety black, speckled with silver like distant stars in the night sky. Her gaze was as mysterious as the depths of the cosmos, the outer layer of her eyes dappled with patches of silver, while within the silver ring, the inner layer of her eyes gleamed with a deep indigo hue, like the infinite expanse of eternity. Meanwhile, Phelan Silverthorn and Astrid Moonleaf exchanged blows with a ferocity that echoed through the room. Phelan's fur shimmered with silver-gray hues, like the mist that hung low over a forest at dawn. His eyes blazed with the intensity of a lightning strike, the silver outer layer crackling with energy as bolts of electric blue shot through the darkness. Within the silver ring, the inner layer of his eyes glowed with a fierce yellow light. Astrid's fur glowed with vibrant emerald green, like the lush foliage of a verdant forest. Her gaze was as intense as the embers of a dying fire, the silver outer layer of her eyes dappled with patches of green. Within the silver ring, the inner layer of her eyes shimmered with a bright, emerald glow, like sunlight filtering through the leaves of a canopy. As the intensity of their training reached its peak, the members of the Silvercrest clan took a moment to catch their breath and discuss the matters from yesterday's phone call with their clan leader, Xavier. Their glowing eyes reflected the dim light of the dojo, each filled with a mix of curiosity and concern. The Los spoke first. Xavier mentioned something about an unknown gene within Bajil. It's troubling. We need to understand its significance and how it might affect our clan and the other werewolf clans. Sebastian added, my father also mentioned Silvercrest traces. When any different werewolf attacks normal humans if they are still alive from the onslaught, the genetic traits are passed on from one through a bite, which I'm guessing Bajil experienced. Solara interjected, and what about Bajil's training? Xavier seemed adamant that he starts training Bajil immediately. What kind of abilities does he possess? Aliana, yes. What kind of abilities does he possess? Who is the mystery assailant along with the police involved? Perhaps there are clues we might have missed at the Northwood scene. We all have the upcoming Werewolf Tournament of Tempest to prepare ourselves. Astrid pondered, I wonder what the Stormwolf, Bloodmoon, and Shadowfawn clans are doing in their own investigations. They must know of Xavier's involvement in all of this. There are so many unanswered questions that need to be revealed. As they discussed the mysteries that surrounded them, the members of the Silvercrest clan resumed their training, their minds focused on uncovering the truth. Each strike, each movement was imbued with determination and purpose as they sparred in their werewolf form in the dojo. The Los, his muscles rippling with each powerful movement. Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts, he said, his voice resonating with conviction. In our journey to uncover the truth, we may face setbacks and challenges, but it is our resilience and determination that will ultimately lead us to success. Sebastian added, the only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. With each strike of his opponent, he remained focused and composed, channeling his inner strength to overcome any obstacle in his path. We must have faith in ourselves and our abilities, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Solara, her movements fluid and graceful, offered her own words of wisdom. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary fate, she said, her voice soft yet firm. Every challenge we face is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Embrace the difficulties, for they will ultimately lead us to greatness. Eliana, her eyes ablaze with resoluteness, spoke next. Sacrifice is the cornerstone of success, she proclaimed. We must be willing to make sacrifices and endure hardships in pursuit of our goals. Only then will we truly achieve eminence. Phelan, his fur bristling with intensity, nodded in agreement. Self-development is a lifelong journey, he declared, his voice filled with conviction. We must constantly strive to improve ourselves, both physically and mentally, pushing beyond our limits and embracing any challenges that come our way. Astrid, her gaze focused, offered her own insight. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain, she said, her words carrying a sense of toughness and resolution. We must embrace the challenges and obstacles that come our way, using them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. After the intense training session, the members of the Silvercrest clan transformed back to human made their way to the showers, the steam enveloping them like a comforting embrace as they washed away the sweat and grime of their exertions. Males and females alike freshened up under the warm water, before all gathering together to head out for breakfast in New York City. The bustling streets greeted them as they stepped out into the morning air, the energy of the city invigorating them as they made their way to their favorite breakfast spot. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon filled the air, mingling with the tantalizing scent of pancakes and waffles. As they sat around the table, enjoying their meal and sharing stories from their training session, the conversation turned to the events of the previous day. The Los, Sebastian, Solara, Eliana, Phelan, and Astrid recounted their discussions with Xavier, their voices filled with a mix of curiosity and concern as they tried to make sense of the mysteries surrounding Bajil's unknown gene werewolf and abilities. Meanwhile, across town at the 24th Precinct, Preston and Ikri sat at their desks, indulging in chocolate donuts and energy drinks as they discussed the events of their interview. They had spoken with Sorvent, Adrian, Jesus, and Ariel Medina, the brothers who had witnessed the attack on Bajil in Northwood. Each of their stories matched, confirming the details of the incident. Lisa and her parents, Leo and Jenna, had also been interviewed. They revealed surprising information about Xavier Jolene's involvement in the case. Xavier had approached the group at the hospital, asking to speak privately with Bajil's parents. Leo and Jenna were taken aback when they later saw a group or team leaving with Bajil from the hospital, with Xavier among them. Jenna explains, before Xavier arrived, the doctors were speaking to Bajil's parents. They were astonished at the rapid healing of his injuries, something they've never seen before. As Preston and Ikri discussed the implications of this new information, they couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than met the eye. They knew they would have to dig deeper if they wanted to uncover the truth behind Bajil's assailant, condition, and Xavier's involvement in the case. Preston took a sip of his energy drink, his mind whirling with questions. "This changes everything," he said, his voice tinged with urgency. "If Xavier was involved in taking Bajil from the hospital, then we need to find out why." Ikri nodded in agreement, her expression serious. "And what about Bajil's rapid healing?" Jenna seemed genuinely surprised by it. "We need to figure out what's going on with him." As they brainstormed, a sense of determination settled over them. They knew they had a challenging task ahead of them, but they were determined to get to the bottom of the mystery surrounding Bajil and Xavier. Just then, their captain called them into his office. "Preston, Ikri, I need to talk to you," he said, his tone grave. "We've received some new information about the case, and I think you two need to hear it." Curious and eager to learn more, Preston and Ikri followed their captain into his office, their minds already racing with possibilities. As Preston and Ikri settled into their captain's office, the air was charged with anticipation. They knew that whatever information their captain had to share could potentially unravel the mysteries surrounding Bajil and Xavier's involvement. Their captain wasted no time getting to the point. "I've just received a report from the hospital where Bajil was being treated," he began, his voice grave. "It seems there was some unusual activity surrounding his discharge." Preston and Ikri exchanged a glance, their interest piqued. "What kind of unusual activity?" Preston asked, leaning forward in his chair. Their captain nodded, his expression serious. "According to the hospital staff, a group of individuals arrived shortly after Xavier's visit. They claimed to be Bajil's family members and insisted on taking him home." Ikri frowned, her mind racing. But that doesn't make sense. Bajil's parents were already at the hospital. Why would they need another group of people to take him home? Their captain nodded in agreement. That's what I thought too. It seems suspicious, especially considering Xavier's involvement. Preston's mind was buzzing with questions. Did the hospital staff say anything about Bajil's condition? His rapid healing? Their captain sighed, rubbing his temples. They mentioned something about Bajil's injuries healing at an unprecedented rate. The doctors were baffled by it, said they'd never seen anything like it before. Ikri's eyes widened with realization. So Xavier's involvement and Bajil's rapid healing are connected somehow. But how? Their captain leaned back in his chair, his expression troubled. That's what I want you two to find out. I need you to dig deeper into Xavier's background, find out everything you can about him and his connection to Bajil. Preston and Ikri nodded in unison, a sense of determination settling over them. They knew they had their work cut out for them, but they were ready to uncover the truth, no matter where it led them. Determined to unravel the mysteries surrounding Bajil and Xavier's involvement, Preston and Ikri wasted no time in springing into action. They gathered their notes and files, ready to dive deeper into the investigation. Their first order of business was to interview the hospital staff at New York Presbyterian Hospital who had been on duty during Bajil's stay. They hoped to glean more information about the circumstances surrounding his discharge and the mysterious group of individuals who had claimed to be his family. As they made their way to the hospital, Preston couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled in the pit of his stomach. The more they uncovered, the more questions seemed to arise. It was as if they were peeling back layer after layer of a complex and tangled web. Upon arriving at the New York Presbyterian Hospital, they were greeted by the head nurse, who agreed to sit down with them for an interview. She recounted the events of that fateful day, detailing how Xavier had arrived, claiming to be a family friend, and how shortly thereafter, another group had arrived, insisting on taking Bajil home. But what about Bajil's parents? Ikri asked, her brow furrowed with confusion. Were they there when Xavier arrived? The head nurse clarified, actually, Bajil's parents, Catherine and Matt, were present at the hospital. They were in the room with their son and Xavier, engaged in a discussion. Preston and Ikri exchanged a glance, absorbing this new information. Were they aware of Xavier's intentions? Preston inquired. The head nurse shook her head, her expression troubled. I couldn't say for certain. Me and Dr. Reynolds were asked to leave the room from Xavier to speak privately with Bajil's parents. It did seem odd that they allowed Bajil to leave with the group without much protest. As Preston and Ikri urgently requested a discussion with Dr. Reynolds, the head nurse nodded in acknowledgement, recognizing the gravity of the situation. Swiftly, she led them through the sterile corridors to the lab where crucial evidence awaited their scrutiny. Once inside the lab, the atmosphere crackled with tension as the detectives wasted no time in addressing Dr. Reynolds. We need to discuss the events surrounding Bajil at the hospital, Preston asserted, his tone serious. Dr. Reynolds, his expression grave, acknowledged the severity of the situation. Bajil's case is unlike anything I've seen before, he began, his voice laced with concern. His injuries were severe, yet his body exhibited an extraordinary rate of healing. It's as if he possesses some form of supernatural regenerative ability. Preston's eyebrows knitted together in disbelief, while Ikri's gaze hardened with suspicion. Supernatural healing? Preston repeated, skepticism evident in his voice. Are you suggesting Bajil has some kind of otherworldly power? Dr. Reynolds nodded solemnly. It's a possibility we can't dismiss, he confirmed. But there's more. I've conducted additional tests on Bajil's blood samples, and the results are troubling, to say the least. He paused, choosing his words carefully. There are anomalies present in Bajil's blood, he revealed cryptically. Anomalies that defy scientific explanation. Ikri's mind raced with the implications of Dr. Reynolds' revelation. So, Bajil's condition may be more than just a medical anomaly, she inquired, her tone urgent. As the detectives pressed for more information, Dr. Reynolds reluctantly handed over the red-top tube containing Bajil's blood. Examining it closely, they were overcome with a sense of foreboding, realizing they stood on the brink of a mysterious and potentially dangerous revelation. With that unsettling realization, Preston and Ikri excused themselves, leaving Dr. Reynolds alone in the lab unbeknownst to anyone else. Hidden away from prying eyes, Dr. Reynolds held a second tube containing Bajil's blood, harboring secrets yet to be uncovered in the shadows. Transition, Xavier and Bajil sat across from each other at a Hoover Live Edge walnut table with blue epoxy, nestled deep underground within the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. The secluded facility far from the prying eyes and eavesdropping ears of the outside world. Surrounded by the dense foliage and the comforting embrace of nature, they were enveloped in an aura of secrecy, shielded from any unwelcome intrusions. As they indulged in their afternoon meal, the ambience was serene yet tinged with an undercurrent of tension. Xavier's voice broke the silence. "Bajil, we need to discuss what transpired during your training session yesterday," he began. Bajil's eyes narrowed in concentration as he listened intently to Xavier's explanation. The dim glow of the surrounding cavern accentuated the intensity of his expression. "Why did you deliberately provoke me?" he questioned, his voice edged with frustration and confusion. "And what was that transformation I experienced?" Xavier sighed, his gaze distant as he recalled the events of the training session. Bajil's gaze softened as he absorbed Xavier's explanation. "I needed to test your limits, Bajil, to see how you would react under extreme circumstances. It was a trial of your potential and your control over your werewolf abilities." Bajil's eyes widened in realization as Xavier's words sank in. A myriad of emotions flickered across his face, astonishment, anger, and a hint of understanding. "You were testing me," he exclaimed, his voice tinged with disbelief. "But why? What's at stake here?" Xavier leaned forward. "Bajil, you possess a unique gift," he said. "Your abilities go far beyond those of an ordinary werewolf. With great power comes great responsibility. I needed to be sure that you are able to handle the full extent of your powers without losing control." Xavier's gaze bore into Bajil's, his expression grave as he delved deeper into the events of the previous day's training session. The memory of Bajil's loss of control lingered heavily in the air, casting a shadow over their conversation. "Bajil," Xavier began, "what happened yesterday was concerning. You lost control and went berserk, risking harm to yourself and others." Bajil's eyes flickered with a mix of guilt and confusion as he recalled the intensity of the moment. The memory of his own primal fury sent a shiver down his spine, a stark reminder of the power that lay dormant within him. "I don't know what came over me. I felt like I was being consumed by something primal." Xavier nodded in understanding, his expression sympathetic. "It's not uncommon for young werewolves to experience moments of instability," he explained. "But what happened with you, Bajil, was different. It was far more intense, and your reaction was beyond what I've seen in others. Your power, your connection to the werewolf, it's remarkable. If it had gone any further, or if you had fully transformed, the consequences could have been catastrophic." Bajil's eyes widened at Xavier's words, a mixture of awe and trepidation swirling within him. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on his shoulders as he realized the magnitude of his newfound abilities. I had no idea," Bajil murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't realize how much power I had within me." "I understand, Bajil," Xavier replied, his tone filled with empathy. "Now we kinda know. We work on controlling your abilities together." As they finished their meal, Xavier led Bajil through the winding corridors of the secluded facility towards the training room. Along the way, he took the opportunity to share some personal information with Bajil. "You know, Bajil, my daughter, Daniela Jolene, also attends Silvermoon High," Xavier mentioned casually, a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Perhaps you've crossed paths with her before." Bajil's eyes widened in recognition at the mention of Daniela's name. "Daniela? I know her," he exclaimed, his surprise evident in his voice. "We're friends. I had no idea she was your daughter." Bajil's eyes widened in surprise as Xavier's words sank in. "Wait, if Daniela is your daughter, is she a werewolf too?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Xavier nodded. "Yes, she's aware of our heritage and the responsibilities that come with it," he confirmed. Bajil's mind raced with questions, his curiosity piqued by this newfound surprising fact. "Daniela a werewolf too?" he asked, "and does she struggle with her abilities?" Xavier chuckled softly, a fond smile playing at the corners of his lips. His gaze distant for a moment as he considered Bajil's inquiries. "Yes, Daniela is indeed a werewolf," he confirmed, his voice carrying a hint of pride. "And like all of us, she faces her own challenges and obstacles on the path to mastering her abilities." Bajil's mind raced with a myriad of thoughts and questions, but one in particular lingered in his thoughts. Does Daniela know about what happened to me this past Friday? I was attacked during the basketball game. I wasn't even at the game when it happened. I left during halftime sneak out of the gym to get some fresh air and cool off. I was at Northwoods. Xavier's expression shifted, his features clouded with concern as he absorbed Bajil's words. I haven't told her everything, he admitted, his tone grave. But she knows you were attacked at Northwoods. The news of you was everywhere. She's been worried about you, Bajil. Don't worry, Bajil, Xavier reassured him, his voice steady. I'll let her know how you're doing after our training session. She'll be relieved to hear from you. With a nod of gratitude, Bajil followed Xavier as they made their way to the training room. As they walked, Xavier directing his attention to Bajil's parents. So, about your parents' famous online store, SeekerEnterprise.com, he prompted, his curiosity evident. A small smile tugged at the corners of Bajil's lips as he spoke about his parents' entrepreneurial venture. Seeker Enterprise is their pride and joy, he explained, his voice laced with admiration. They've worked tirelessly to build it from the ground up, ranging from products home and living, clothes, jewelry, has t-shirts, hoodies, canvas, bracelet, rings. Xavier nodded, his interest piqued. Impressive, he remarked, his tone sincere. It takes a lot of dedication and hard work to achieve that level of success. As they reached the training room, Xavier gestured for Bajil to enter first. Let's get started, he said, a determined glint in his eyes. We have a lot to cover today, but I have no doubt that you're up to the challenge. As Bajil stepped into the training room, the air crackled with energy, imbued with growth and discovery. Xavier followed closely behind. Today, we'll focus on honing your control and mastering your abilities, he announced, but first, we'll start with some basic warm-up exercises to get your blood pumping. With a nod of understanding, Bajil positioned himself, his muscles tensing in anticipation. Xavier guided him through a series of stretches and calisthenics, each movement designed to prepare his body for the rigorous training ahead. As they moved through the warm-up routine, Bajil's focus sharpened, his mind clearing of all distractions. With each stretch and flex of his muscles, he felt a sense of ascertainment building within him. As Bajil completed his warm-up, Xavier saw an opportunity to introduce the idea of the Werewolf Tournament of Tempest. Bajil, Xavier began, there's an event I think you should know about, the Werewolf Tournament of Tempest. Bajil's ears perked up with curiosity. The Werewolf Tournament of Tempest? What's that? He asked, his interest piqued. Xavier nodded. It's a prestigious tournament where werewolf clans from around the world gather to showcase their skills and abilities, he explained. It's an opportunity for werewolves to test their strength, agility, and cunning against the best of the best. Bajil's eyes widened with surprise, his mind racing with questions. Why do you bring it up now? I bring it up now because I believe you have unknown hidden potential within you. The Werewolf Tournament of Tempest is not just about showcasing physical prowess, it's also about honing your skills, pushing your limits. Bajil's heart pounded with apprehension. The idea of competing in such a prestigious event was both thrilling and daunting. But why me? He asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. I'm still learning to control my abilities. I don't know if I'm ready for something like this. Xavier sighed. You have a unique gift, Bajil, he said, his voice filled with conviction. Your nightshade gene sets you apart from other werewolves clans. The tournament will be a test of your control, your strength, and unknown qualities you may possess. Bajil's doubts began to fade as he absorbed Xavier's word. He knew that Xavier believed in him, and that gave him the courage to believe in himself. Okay, he said, a determined glint in his eyes. I'll do it. I'll compete in the Werewolf Tournament of Tempest. Xavier's face, proud of Bajil's decision. Good, he said, his voice filled with pride. Together, we'll train hard and prepare you for the challenges ahead. I have no doubt that you'll make us proud. They assuming a fighting stance, Bajil launched into a flurry of strikes and blocks directed at Xavier. With each movement, he felt a surge of energy pulsating through his veins, heightening his senses and reflexes to an unprecedented level. It was as though his body had tapped into a primal reservoir of power, moving with an instinctual agility and precision that surpassed his own understanding. As the intensity of the training escalated, Bajil sensed something stirring deep within him. A primal force, ancient and potent, surged to the surface with an unstoppable momentum. His muscles tensed, his breath quickened, and before he knew it, he teetered on the brink of transformation. In a moment of realization, Bajil understood that his nightshade gene was awakening, propelling him into a semi-transformation of a werewolf. It was a moment charged with both exhilaration and trepidation as he grappled with the raw power coursing through his veins. However, despite the impending shift in his form, Bajil remained remarkably composed. With unwavering determination, he harnessed his newfound abilities, tapping into the strength and agility of the werewolf within. His strikes grew more fluid, his movements more precise, as he seamlessly integrated his human and werewolf selves. Watching on with a mix of awe and admiration, Xavier marveled at Bajil's unleashed potential. Each strike and block showcased the depth of his abilities and strength. The 2-hour training session proved to be both challenging and rewarding for Bajil as he continued to hone his control over his werewolf powers. Under Xavier's guidance, he made significant progress, demonstrating improved discipline and focus. However, as the session neared its end, Xavier noticed subtle signs that Bajil was nearing the brink of losing control once again. Sensing the potential danger, Xavier made the decision to conclude the training session. After their rigorous training, Bajil and Xavier headed to the showers to freshen up, the warm water washing away the sweat and fatigue of their exertions. As they emerged from the shower, the evening sun cast long shadows across the secluded facility. With the training session behind them, Xavier calls his daughter, Daniela, to reassure her about Bajil's well-being. Dialing her number, he waited for her to pick up. She finally answered. "Daniela, it's me," Xavier said, his voice filled with warmth. "I just wanted to let you know that Bajil is doing well. He's made great progress during our training sessions, and he'll be returning home tomorrow." On the other end of the line, Daniela's voice echoed with concern. "Is he okay, Dad?" she asked, her tone filled with worry. "I've been so worried about him ever since I heard about the attack." Xavier reassured Daniela about Bajil's well-being. "Would you like to talk to him?" "Yes, please, Dad," Daniela replied eagerly, her voice tingling. "Hey, Bajil," Xavier said with a smile. "Daniela is on the line. She wants to check in on you." Bajil's eyes widened in surprise. He quickly took the phone from Xavier. "Hey, Daniela," he greeted warmly. "I'm okay, just a little sore from training." As they began to talk, Daniela's gentle voice washed over Bajil like a soothing balm. He found himself opening up about the events that had transpired at Northwoods, confessing the frustration and anger he had felt after being benched by Coach Steven yet again. He recounted how he had sought solace in the solitude of the forest, only to find himself caught in the midst of a harrowing encounter with a mysterious assailant. Listening intently, Daniela over the other end of the line, her voice was like a gentle breeze, soothing his troubled mind. "I understand, Bajil," she said softly. "Controlling our werewolf abilities can be challenging, but you're not alone in this. We're in this together." Her reassurance washed over Bajil like a wave of relief. He felt a renewed sense to face his inner demons head-on. "Thank you, Daniela," he murmured gratefully. As the conversation flowed, Bajil found himself drawn into Daniela's world, captivated by her tales of adventure and resilience. With each word she spoke, he felt a deep connection forming between them, a bond forged by shared experiences and mutual understanding. "I've had my fair share of struggles too," Daniela admitted, her voice tinged with vulnerability. "But I've learned that our werewolf abilities are a gift, not a curse. We just need to learn how to harness them properly." The conversation lingered on, each word carrying a weight of its own. As they spoke, Bajil couldn't shake the feeling that he had found a kindred spirit in Daniela. Despite the miles that separated them, their shared experiences brought them closer together, bridging the gap between two seemingly disparate worlds. "I'm here for you, Bajil," Daniela said, her voice filled with sincerity. "We may be miles apart, but we're in this together. Whatever you're going through, I'll be here to support you every step of the way." Bajil felt a lump form in his throat at her words, a surge of emotion welling up within him. It was a rare and precious gift to have someone who understood him so completely, who accepted him for who he was without judgment or reservation. "Thank you, Daniela," Bajil murmured, his voice choked with emotion. Their conversation drew to a close, but the connection between them remained strong. As they said their goodbyes, Bajil felt a sense of peace settle over him, knowing that he had someone like Daniela in his corner. As he hung up the phone, Bajil couldn't help but smile. With Daniela's unwavering support, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With Xavier by his side and Daniela to guide him, he knew that he could overcome anything that came his way. As the evening drew to a close, Xavier approached Bajil, a reassuring smile on his face. "I just got off the phone with your parents," he began. "They're looking forward to having you back home tomorrow." Bajil's heart swelled with gratitude at the thought of returning home, his mind filled with anticipation for the comforts of familiar surroundings. "Thank you, Xavier," he said sincerely, "for everything." With a nod of acknowledgement, Xavier left Bajil to his thoughts, the promise of a new day on the horizon. The following morning, as the sun rose on September 19th, Tuesday 2023, Daniela received a text from her dad, Xavier, informing her of Bajil's impending return home around 5 p.m. that evening. Excited by the news, Daniela wasted no time in spreading the word to their close friends. First, she reached out to Lisa, sharing the joyous news of Bajil's homecoming. With her friend on board, Daniela continued to spread the word, reaching out to Sorvent, Adrian, and the Medina brothers, Jesus and Ariel. The scene erupted into cheers in that moment, as they danced and celebrated as if on cue. The familiar sound of music filled the air, signaling the door open.